All right, you have 7:02 and you're live.
Okay, then, excuse me, I'll call to order the January 2021 meeting of the City of Oneonta Planning Commission. Our first order of business is to elect a new chair and vice chair. And I am nominating Danny Lappin for chair. He's not here to defend himself, but he is not only willing but enthusiastic about serving as chair, and he brings some unique qualifications to the job. He understands land use planning on not only on a scholarly basis, but also as a matter of application. In other words, he has experience with it as well as the fact that he has studied it deeply. And add that to his leadership skills, and I think he will make a very good, excellent chair for our planning commission. Does anybody want to nominate anyone else?
I'll second, but I'm not on the commission.
Ed?
Yes.
Well, I agree with your nomination. He's not here. Is it appropriate to do a vote tonight if he's not going to be attending? I'm sure we can go ahead with a meeting if you continue, if everybody agrees that you would stand in for him. But it doesn't seem right to put him in as chair when he's not here.
Well, let's defer the election of officers to later in the meeting, because as far as I know, he's going to be here.
I just sent him a message as a reminder, so
Yeah, so did I, Shane.
back, I'll let you know.
Oh, I didn't think to do that. Thank you. Okay, well, then the next item of business is approval of the minutes from the last meeting. So I need a motion to approve in a second.
Ed, this is Dan. Do we need to call the roll first?
I don't know, do we?
Yes, you do.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Dan.
Okay.
Would you like me to do that for you, Vice Chair?
Yes, please.
Vice Chair Overby,
Present.
Commissioner Maskin,
Here?
Commissioner Stanton,
Here.
Commissioner Thomas,
Here.
Commissioner Lappin, Commissioner Deegan.
Here, and it's Digan, just for the first
Sorry.
meeting.
Thank you.
That's
Good
okay.
to know. Councilmember Risberger.
Here.
You have a quorum, Vice Chair, if you want to move on to your minutes.
Okay, so the next item of business is to approve the minutes of the last meeting. So I need a motion on that.
So moved. Dan Maskin.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Is there any further discussion from any members of the commission prior to roll call? Vice Chair Overby,
Yes.
Commissioner Holden, correction, Commissioner Maskin,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Digan.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, let's go move ahead with our election of officers then, and then I can get out of this rather awkward position that I'm in. So I Danny, in your absence, I nominated you, but we didn't want to vote until you were here to defend yourself.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry. It's running a little bit behind today.
And we have no other nominations. So I would like to suggest that we elect Commissioner Lappin by acclamation. Does anyone object to a unanimous vote in favor of Commissioner Lappin?
Nope.
No objection.
Chair Lappin, it's all yours.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored to serve as chair and very grateful for the opportunity. I look forward to working with you all over the next couple of years. So I'd like to call the regular meeting to order under my chairmanship, I guess. So I would first like to see if anyone was here to speak about the Corning application.
Don't we need to elect a vice chair?
Oh yeah, we need to elect the vice chair. Sorry about that. So I'd like to open the floor for nominations of a vice chair for the Planning Commission.
Can we keep Ed?
Overby.
Do I have a second? Second, anybody?
I missed what he said.
Commissioner-
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Great. Any discussion? Okay, clerk call roll.
Chair Lappin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Overby,
Abstain.
Commissioner Maskin,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Dygan.
Yes.
Passes.
Excellent. Congratulations, Ed.
Thank you.
So now we can start the meeting. I'd like to invite the folks from Corning to present their site plan application.
Yeah, I can start. This is Steve Eckler from Rambo. I always get a little intimidated on these technology things and everything because usually I have kids around that will pull the technology from me when I'm fumbling on it, but they grew up on me and moved out of the house. So hopefully I won't fumble this. Zoom has been new to me this year. Never heard of it before this year. But appreciate your time. Appreciate the commissioner's time. Appreciate everybody's time that's on the call here today. I'm going to act as the quarterback here for the application, and just start by asking if Mark or Todd or Ben, who was on the phone call today, if they want to just give a kind of a brief summary of the purpose of this expansion that Corning is doing, and then we can walk through the application and walk through the site plan drawings if that's what the commissioners want to do.
Well,
Maybe I'll point to Todd. Yep, go ahead, Todd.
oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, this is Todd Farr. Corning is building an addition on the south side of the existing plant. It's a little over 13,000 square feet. It's towards the riverside, River Street direction. And it's gonna kind of go kitty corner with the existing building they built a year and a half ago, the central utility chiller building that's out in the front. And this is just they're expanding their manufacturing processing line for demands.
If we can, I think we can share screen here. So Rick, I'm going to ask you if you can share your screen and bring up the site plan and just kind of walk the commissioners through the different project elements that we have that we're modifying the site plan.
Yep, I will do that right now. Okay, can you see the aerial?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just to reiterate what Todd said, this is the bird's eye view of the site. We got River Street up here and the service road down here. What doesn't show up on this aerial is the new utilities building, which is located right in this area here. The area that we're looking for the expansion will encompass pretty much this area right in here, which is all paved area right now. These existing silos, 3 of them will be removed and demoed and removed off-site. 2 of them will be reused on-site, and I'll be showing you where that is. Actually, one of them is going to be coming over onto this pad here. And then we're going to have an addition of 1 more loading dock, which will reside right parallel with this guy here. So that kind of gives you a rough idea of the exact location. I'm going to see if I can remove this, and then can you see the plans now?
Not yet.
Okay,
might
I
have
may
to
have to reshare.
Yeah, reshare, yep.
Okay.
We can see him, Rick.
Okay, so right now, this is the overall site plan, and it gives you an outline of the existing facility. And then within the drawings, what we've done is we've identified the specific sheets where you can go to and see the exact blow-ups of what we're doing. So this is the overall plan. This will give you an idea of what is planned to be demoed and removed. Again, we've got some area here for the loading dock. We've got the pavement that showed up there before. That's going to be removed and basically replaced with the new building. And this will be the loading dock area here. It's just another 12 feet and some change of additional width, which shows up on the existing loading docks right now. The existing retaining wall that's out there will be removed, and the building face, which will encompass this area here, all the way over to here and up and around, which is the new expansion. There's a new transformer to be located right in here. The silos, one of the silos, which I mentioned before, will be located right here, with the opportunity to expand it to 1 other silo. Access is, we've got an access here for materials, a man door here, a man door here. And then we have a pedestrian access, which will go from here around and get you back into this front door. The existing utilities there pretty much are going to be relocated under the building floor slab. That encompasses the sanitary sewer lines, which will be relocated and tied back into the existing lines. There's a storm line right now that collects the storm drainage right here and also right here. Those piping connections will be relocated, and they'll run underneath the building and reconnected to the other side. So there's no new utility connections that doesn't occupy something that already exists. The pavement basically is going to be replaced with roof structure, and there's basically no net increase on any stormwater runoff. The
Going to be a decrease.
for the most part, yes, we're just about even. We're talking hundredths of an acre. That's the differential. The whole site that's going to be impacted only equals about 45 hundredths of an acre.
That's not much.
Right. That's very, very small. So this is the grading plan, which you can take a look at your leisure if you haven't already seen it. I don't know if you have any questions outside of what I've identified.
I have a question. I'm Dan Alley at 274 River.
Go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So with the previous excavations that you guys did and everything over there, all the dirt and everything you excavated got put into the property next to mine. And that was never put in the plan or anything. It was just, they just did it. So my question is that going to happen again with excavations being brought over to the property next to mine?
No, it will not, Dan. This is Ben Williams from Corning. We've already identified a plan to keep it on our property, but it won't be adjacent to your property, Dan. That won't happen again.
Okay, I was just curious about that because that was kind of messy.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen again.
Outstanding. That's my only question.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions regarding the site plan as presented? Hearing none, let's move on to the seeker review component. According to our code enforcer's memo that was distributed to you all, the proposed project or addition, I should say, from Corning would be a unlisted action under seeker. The short environmental assessment form has been filed. Does anybody have questions or comments regarding the seeker classification?
Nope.
Okay. Hearing none, I'd like to open the floor for a motion to classify this action under seeker.
So moved.
Second.
Dan Maskin.
I second it.
Discussion? Clerk call roll.
Chair Lappin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Overby,
Yes.
Commissioner Maskin,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Digan.
Yes.
Passes.
Great. And so considering the nature of this project, being that it's already occurring on a, overwhelmingly majority paved site, I don't believe that there would be any necessary permit approvals from other agencies, so we don't need to do a coordinated review. At least, does anybody disagree with that statement? Okay, let's move on to the site plan application.
Can I ask just a process question?
Sure.
This is Steve Eckler from Rambo again, just because I hear that you're moving on to the site plan application. Does the board need to, and from a seeker perspective, need to approve a notice of determination?
No, because usually a short environmental assessment form is prepared for a project that is not likely to have an environmental impact.
So no, a negative
To do a negative
declaration?
declaration or anything like that. Steve, you can chime in if I'm missing something.
I'd certainly feel better if you did a negative declaration.
I mean, you honestly, you could just for the record, you're not required to provide a neg deck on a short form, but
Yeah.
just for the record, I mean, you could just say that, after review of the seeker, the short form, there are no, you could just do it as a, I hate to say like as a precautionary, but just as a process, kind of like what Steve said.
Okay, sure.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
It's definitely not a requirement.
I'll make a motion using Steve Yearley's words.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Clerk call roll.
Chair Lappin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Overby,
Yes.
Commissioner Maskin,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Digan.
Yes.
Passes.
Great. So let the record show that upon review of all the submitted materials related to the Corning application, the Planning Commission has determined that the project will not have an adverse impact on the environment.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. So let's move on to the site plan. I wanted to thank you for submitting the extra drawings and for providing us with a detailed overview of the site plan. It's very helpful. So does any of the commissioners have any comments to share regarding the site plan application as it stands? Okay, so it looks to me like all the necessary materials have been submitted. Steve, do we need to waive anything? Let's see. All right, so if nobody has any comments, at least I'm fine with the way that the site plan's been presented. I believe that it provides a clear kind of presentation as to how the project will function in the built environment. The building is laid out in the back of the property, not facing River Street. The gentleman's question about waste disposal or fill excavation material disposal has been addressed. I believe that the criteria for site plan approval have been met. So I'd open the floor for discussion regarding a motion for site plan approval.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, clerk, call roll.
Chair Lappin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Overby,
Yes.
Commissioner Maskin,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Dygan.
Yes.
Passes.
Great. Thank you, guys. Do you have any questions for us?
Just really appreciate your time and for doing this. And, you know, we'll be into Steve's office at some point for the building permit applications, but just really thank you for your time tonight. Really, really do appreciate it.
And thank you guys for taking the time to present to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much. Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks.
Good night.
Okay, moving on. Do we have anybody from the Salvation Army here to present their application?
You have Rick Eastman, who is their contractor, on the line.
I'm here. Hi, good evening, everybody.
Hi, Rick.
I believe David Bender is here too from the Salvation Army. David, are you there?
I am.
So right now we've submitted a demolition permit, and I believe, Steve, the short form seeker, is that still valid under the current plan just to demo? Originally it was for the parking lot, but that is not going to happen.
So for clarification for the board, this was an application that came as part of a demolition with the plan to construct a parking lot. It previously had gone to zoning. By removing the parking lot component, it's just requires site plan review per the code. In the past, the board has decided that, or has determined that demolition of property is a type 2 action under seeker because it's a temporary use of property that has little to no impact on the environment. This property is outside of any historic district, and it wouldn't trigger a type 1 action. So that's kind of where this application is at right now.
So this would just be a demolition of the two-family home.
Yeah, it's as the original application for site plan review, which is just a demolition. The code states that you can't do a demolition unless you receive site plan approval. So that's what triggered this.
Okay.
So they're not, just to be clear, they're not constructing a parking lot. They're not expanding the parking lot.
Correct.
That is correct.
The original application was part of remove a building, install a parking lot. That goes to zoning. By removing the parking lot portion of the project, it's just a simple site plan review process under the code.
Okay, so let's move on. Does anybody else have any other questions regarding the application?
So did excuse me, did they retract their application from the ZBA, or they weren't denied, were they?
They weren't denied. It was tabled, and then the applicant made the option. But the applicant decided they no longer wanted to pursue a parking lot. Originally, they'd filed a site plan review, but it was determined that by installing the parking lot, it would need zoning approval. The zoning board can approve site plans in the process of issuing a variance.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure that it couldn't fall under the designation of board shopping. So that's good. Okay.
No.
Okay, so does anybody have anything else to add? Okay, so I'd like to open the floor for a motion to classify this action under seeker.
So moved.
Who made the motion?
Dan Maskin.
Okay, and it's to classify the action as a type 2 action under seeker. Right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk call roll.
Chair Lappin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Overby,
Yes.
Commissioner Maskin,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Dygan.
Yes.
Passes.
Excellent. So let's move on to the site plan application. And since it's a demo of a two-family home, it's not a relatively large disturbance of land. It's temporary in nature. Does anybody have any comments to share on the site plan application? Okay, I'll open the floor for a motion on the site plan as presented.
I move that we approve the site plan as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Clerk call roll.
Chair Lappin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Overby,
Yes.
Commissioner Maskin,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Dygan.
Yes.
Passes.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
You too.
Have a good night.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Okay, last but not least, we have the application from Dorothy and Kevin Johnson of 4 Division Street, Oneonta. I see that Mr. Johnson's here by phone. Would you like to tell us what you're doing?
Yeah. Basically, originally, I just really wanted to do a temporary structure for a carport that I could get my truck underneath. So when it snows like crazy, I don't have to, because it's large, I don't have to worry about getting the snow off of it and anything like that. And then I can keep my machines under there. But I mean, you know, if I could get it more of a permanent structure, that would be great as well, because we did have a two-car garage there, and it collapsed in a blizzard in 1992. I think we got like 5 feet of snow and it just caved in. It was too much weight to bear on that old structure. So we had no choice but to clean it up, but the foundation is still intact. The footer is still good. And you know, the style of building that I want to do, it's a retro fit from an old style of building called balloon framing. And in the future, I would like to try and get a historical stamp on this property because it has a really good history behind it. And the house itself and the property, it's beautiful. I want to restore it to its former glory. I've been taking care of this property since I was a child. And I've dreamed about the day that I could take the reins and, you know, take creative carte blanche over turning it back into a really nice estate. But in actuality, I do need this structure so I can put my machines in there and tools. I don't want any electric at this point. I mean, there used to be a line out there, and we clipped it back and used it for an external GFCI for our back deck. I mean, maybe at some point in time, I might put in a plan to put, you know, maybe one receptacle outlet in it, but that's not what we're here about today. And I appreciate the fact that you approved my materials as I was absent at the last meeting.
Okay, so, Stephen, did Mr. Johnson submit any drawings about the property in the application?
He did. I'm not sure. I thought that was all part of the
plan. I'm sorry.
I don't see it in the on the PDF regarding 4 Division Street, the site plan application. I was just asking.
Yeah, he did, so they should be in there. I think we took them, they were scanned in. It's basically just at the rear of the property. It's like it's basically just a single, like a garage structure. Yeah.
Okay.
This garage is not going to be as high. The peak of the roof is not going to be as high as the old one. Only the dimensions are going to be that high, and the openings, the door, the bay openings are going to be a little higher. But above and beyond what's already been for my materials and my blueprint, I'm only going to go about 12 inches above that height and then establish my hip angle in there. So it's probably going to be, about a 4/12 pitch.
Okay.
So it's not going to be that steep. Like the old garage was about a 9/12 pitch. I want to put a steel roof on it.
Okay. And so, Stephen, you've had a chance to review the drawings.
Yeah, I mean it meets the setback requirements. It's built on an existing pad.
So
in the rear of the property. I mean, in that zone, there's like a 1 foot setback for accessory buildings.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's pretty. I mean, you would literally have to basically like build a garage on your neighbor's property, which I'm not going to say hasn't happened, but this one is not that case.
Okay. So
in fact, my neighbor actually forfeited a little bit of property when she put her fence in. She had the property surveyed and purveyed, and she said, that's my property line. So, I mean, essentially I've taken over the maintenance on property that used to be hers. And she's all for it. She wants me to have the garage there.
Okay. So does any of the other commissioners have any questions?
I just want to say, sorry that I cut out. I lost internet, but I did read through the application. So
Great. So as currently presented, the project it appears to be a type 2 action under seeker. Do I have a motion to classify the action under seeker?
I'll classify it as a type 2.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk call roll.
Chair Lappin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Overby,
Yes.
Commissioner Maskin,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Dygan.
yes.
Passes.
Great. So let's move on to the site plan. As Stephen said, the drawings have been submitted to him. He's reviewed them. It's a basic garage style building built on an existing pad at the rear of the property. Do I have a, does anybody feel like they need to see the site plan, or are we good to move on approval?
Oh, I'm good. I looked at it earlier.
Okay, great. So do I have a motion regarding site plan
I
approval?
move we approve the site plan as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second it. All right. Take your pick.
Commissioner Stanton. Clerk call roll.
Chair Lappin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Overby,
Yes.
Commissioner Maskin,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanton,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Dygan.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We appreciate your time.
I really appreciate your time and giving me this chance to go through this process. It's not so, it hasn't so much been a learning experience. I have 30 years construction and architectural and all the trades and experience in construction. So for me, it wasn't such a challenge. It intrigued me to go through this, and I'm actually considering maybe putting an application in for maybe code enforcement, maybe sometime in the future. But this has been a great process, and I appreciate the city taking their time to do this for me.
Excellent.
Well,
Well, we
you're
wish
quite
you the
welcome.
best of luck.
Is there anything further after this meeting?
You need to get with Stephen, and he'll walk you through what you need.
Okay. So I'll get a letter and further instructions.
Steve?
Yeah, so what happened was we became aware of this and had him submit a site plan application. So what'll happen is you'll get a letter saying that the site plan was approved. We already have a building permit. And I think you've already talked to John Hester a couple times. And I think
they were really nice to work with.
Yeah, so this was just kind of the end of that process. So what'll happen now is you'll build your garage. We'll come out and do inspections. So we'll inspect the framing. We'll inspect your project as you finish it. But yeah, this is the last. This is kind of the last paperwork hurdle.
Yeah, it's all pressure treated. It's all pressure treated wood.
Okay.
So I mean, if anything, it's going to be a little overbuilt.
Okay.
But that's not a bad thing. But so I look forward to it, and I appreciate it again.
Great.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Does anybody have any new business to discuss?
Welcome, Shane.
Welcome, Shane.
Welcome, Shane.
Welcome, Shane.
It's nice to be.
Now, whose esteemed chair did he fill? Anna or Barry?
I don't know the
Let
answer
him
to
take
that.
his pick.
Oh, okay. Do we have one more to go? I guess that's my question.
Yeah.
Yes.
we do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
one more.
Danny, you missed all the awful things I said about you in nominating you.
Oh, well, they'll be recorded for posterity, so it'll go on YouTube. Maybe I'll go viral.
I explained to everybody all the hurdles that you had to overcome, but I knew you'd be able to rise to the occasion, so we elected you anyway.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we have there's lots of dark money exchange hands. You know.
Yeah.
You folks might not know, but Danny's the one that brought me into the world of planning to begin with. He's my first
No
internship
kidding.
advisor in college.
Yeah,
Wow.
I lured Shane to the dark side.
That's right.
There you go. There's no
Yeah,
way.
I knew he was dedicated when he went through the entire secret regulations and line by line.
Thanks for welcoming me on this board, folks. I do appreciate it. And I just so you folks know, I work for the Otsego County Planning Department, so that's my connection to.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great.
Well, welcome.
Oh, so you must know Karen Sullivan.
I do know Karen, yes.
You interned under her, didn't you?
I did, yes.
You did. I remember.
Yeah.
We miss her a lot. But she, she's still around town. So,
Yeah. Enjoying the good life.
Great. There was one thing I wanted to kind of touch on is to see, when it's ready, if we could get an update about the transit hub.
Well, we had a discussion on that last night. If anybody,
that was a short meeting, I heard.
Yeah. I saw the agenda, 3 items, and state of the city address. I figured, be an hour. It was over 3.
Oh my God.
The one thing that was brought up, talking about issuing an RFP for option 2, which that would be the building the transit hub in where the Ford building is currently, where we'd knock down the old Ford building and build it there, and it's a approximately 6,000 square foot building, and the reason that one of the main reasons why Gary is pushing for that, and I agree with him on this, and also engineering and Ginny agree too, is if we build the transit hub within the parking garage, which is option 1, it's a lot cheaper, but we lose about 80 parking spaces. And considering we are looking to, well, we're going to be losing parking spaces anyway over the lofts on Dietz, but we plan for that, and we are looking to potentially rent spaces to them in the parking garage. But on top of that, between the lofts on Dietz and the 4 other projects that we have going on for upper floor housing, we've got roughly 100 apartments that are going to be built potentially within the next 2 years, which is going to draw more people downtown. And a lot of those people will have cars. They're going to be looking for a place to park. So to lose another 80 spots in the parking garage, I think for me is that's a no-brainer. I mean, I think that would be a bad option to go with. Now, the other thing that's been brought up is that we're pushing to be a walkability type city where you don't necessarily need a car. Public transit is looking to expand some of their routes outside of the city. So we should go ahead with option 1 and lose those parking spaces because we won't need them. But I think we need to be careful with, I think it's an admirable and a good goal to try to diminish the number of cars within the city. But I think if we do it overnight by wiping 80 parking spaces in the parking garage, versus it's kind of like taking the problem and smashing it with a hammer versus trying to convince people to do it on their own. And
Well, if mass transit is going to reduce demand for automobiles, those 80 parking spaces are going to be spread out. If there are 80, let's say, they're going to be spread throughout the city, not concentrated in the parking garage. So I don't think we can afford, I don't see where we can afford to lose them, especially with all the new tenants moving into downtown.
Well, Gary and I both agreed that because this is going to have to go to the Planning Commission, we tried to explain to the rest of the council that it's going to be a hard sell. So you should be prepared for the sell. Because there's 2 or 3 council members that I think they felt like their arm was being twisted toward option 2.
Well, I have a question.
So we're slowing things down a little bit, but I still think option 1 is going to be really, really difficult to do. I really do.
Yeah. Well, wasn't the whole Deep Street project predicated on using the parking garage? And I mean, whether there's enough spaces or not, it sounds like a public relations issue.
And so, like my other,
because that's the way. I mean, that's what the pitch was, is that people could park at the Deep Street parking lot to maximize, public parking space on the other end. So I could imagine the opposition going, well, didn't you say blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Building off Commissioner Maskin's point, isn't it true that at some point the parking garage is going to undergo some repairs, Dave?
Well, I think the repairs are also going to be tied in with the whole transit hub project.
Okay.
So whether the transit hub is built within the parking garage or as a separate building, there's going to be a lot of work done on the parking garage itself. I mean, not just the new facing of it, but the entrances are going to be changing. The flow of traffic is going to change dramatically. So I think whether we do option 1 or option 2, it's going to transform that entire parking garage. But
I have a concern about the Oneonta sales design. It doesn't seem to fit with the idea of downtown revitalization is focused on historic downtown, Oneonta's historic downtown. It doesn't look historic. It's more Bauhaus or prairie style.
are you talking about the proposed transit hub in place of the Ford?
Yes.
So I had a question for Stephen, kind of related. Do you think that the transit hub project will be reviewed under the new MU1 regulations that you're working on?
So
that's a good question.
When I reviewed the initial drawings for that project, I had some of Ed's concerns as well. I sent the draft version of the MU1 zoning update, which right now I'm just finishing the all the graphical parts of it, like all the drawings and all the kind of supporting visual stuff. But I sent the text draft to the architect and the firm that designed it. That's what they sent back. I think that you would probably be reviewing it under the new, ideally under the new code.
Okay.
but I don't know. I would have questions whether it would meet the new code.
Yeah, me too. So that's kind of why I was asking.
Well,
I
I don't
share
see
Commissioner
why-
Obiki's concern.
I don't see any reason why the changes can't be made. I think that that proposal is not cast in hard in stone.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
concept drawing, yeah.
exactly. So
I
I
haven't gotten anywhere near design or construction documents, so.
Right, and it's also possible, Ed, that if we go with the option 2, that building could look completely different. It could be half the size. It could even be in a different location on that piece of property as well. So there's a lot of discussion with the council. As I said, my only concern is the parking in the parking garage. I don't think we can afford to lose another 80 spots. That's all.
And I read something in the paper, and I could be mistaken. Did the finance director, did she mention something about a potential charge or parking meters?
Yes.
It's one of the many ideas. What she was charged with doing was coming up with a way to pay for option 2 to see if it was even a viable option.
Okay.
And
So she was kind of brainstorming, Dave, right?
right, but there's been talk for a while about re-implementing paid parking in certain locations of the city, because the thought was that when we did it the first time, it was not done in an optimal fashion. It could have been done better. Yeah, you're laughing, Ed. But so they did an awful lot of work on this between engineering and finance over the and OPT over the last couple of years in trying to plan this. But so I think Ginny has come up with a way of, if we go with option 2, that we will find a way to pay for it.
Okay. So that's helpful. I love the idea of paid parking, but
You and me both.
yeah. So I'd appreciate it if there's any, discussions surrounding the
So
transit
just
hub.
to throw in with the paid parking thing, we had a meeting yesterday as part of a smart cities thing where we discussed kind of thoughts about like basically automated paid parking, where you could almost you would use your cell phone, and there's an app that allows you to locate parking spots, and it's priced based on usage and how many spots are available and time, and it's basically a fully automated system that would allow you to essentially pay for parking from your cell phone.
I think I still have an app of a system just like that, Stephen, on my phone.
There's a system in Albany. Syracuse has one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it essentially just be like an automated system that would connect to your phone through an app.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when is this?
Sometime at Common Council, we should read to the council members the book that's named The High Cost of Free Parking.
Yeah, all 900 pages.
Yeah. So when is this all going to arrive in our laps?
Not sure. I think there's still some work that needs to be done. There's some concerns that they're legitimate concerns that the council members want to work on.
Okay.
But I would guess within the next couple months, something is going to come to you guys about it. Because we have to decide on an RFP to issue, and issuing an RFP for both option 1 and 2 is not necessarily a good idea. It will lead to quite an expense. So do a lot up to a certain point.
Yeah, if you did for both, you'd have to do like maybe even a GEIS or something specific to traffic, and I don't know, who knows, but yeah, if you could keep us apprised of when that discussion's coming at council level, maybe we could get volunteer to attend. If it's virtual, we can, several of us can be there in the audience. So
Yeah, I'm not sure when it's going to be on the agenda next. I'm not sure what direction we're going to go at this point.
Yeah,
But I would plan for something relatively soon.
Yeah, if you could, if it pops up and, just send us a note if you could.
Sure.
Great. Thank you. Does anybody, I was going to ask, have you heard anything about the DLofts on Dietz, Dave? Any developments in the court case?
Not yet, but we should be getting some kind of a ruling fairly soon. The owner is still planning on breaking ground this spring.
Great. I'm excited.
I just filed the zoning, the approval letter for the surveying company. So they're currently having it surveyed so they can start.
Stephen, have we moved the charging stations out of there yet?
Not that I'm aware of. I think they're still there. So right now the surveying company basically needed a letter stating that they had site plan approval and that the project was in accordance with the city zoning code.
Okay.
Because the surveyor needs that in order to survey and subdivide the parcel. But if they weren't intending on moving forward, then obviously we wouldn't be in that, at that point.
Okay, great. Well, we'll be looking forward to hearing achievements related to that case. Does anybody have anything else to say? Any other new business?
Yeah, I'd like to announce Carol and I are getting our
Do I have a
vaccine on
motion to
Monday.
adjourn?
What?
I'm glad you're getting it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, let me know how it goes.
All right.
I'm hopeful that I think my dad's getting his vaccine in California soon too.
Great.
Cool.
That's exciting. Well, hopefully it's speedy and safe and goes well.
Seems to be so far.
Great. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll
All right.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for electing me chair. I hope you all have a great month. I'll see you soon.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Carrie.
Take care.
Hey, Ed Overby,
Yes.
when are you getting your vaccine?